Welcome to the station wagon. I'm the older brother, Mark.
And I'm little sister Julie. This is the podcast where my brother and I give up something we take for granted and tell you how it goes.
Buckle up and enjoy the ride. So, Julie, hi.
What a nice greeting.
And hey, podcast listeners, welcome.
Another nice greeting, which is fitting
Right.
because today we're focusing on greeting rituals. We're going to be giving you some history and science and cultural stuff of greeting rituals. And then Mark and I are going to focus for a couple weeks on very deliberately greeting everyone in our path. So watch out.
That's totally right. And Julie, can I tell you a joke? That
Oh my gosh.
that
Yes.
what my friend Megan Fay at work tells me a joke every day. 'Cause
Really?
she's got a joke calendar. So she tells me the jokes. And this is one that I've been saving up just for this episode. Okay.
Let's hear it. Lay it on us.
Two psychologists passed each other in the hallway. One said to the other, "Hello." After they passed, the second said to herself, "I wonder what she meant by that."
Okay, when you said you had a joke for me, I thought it was going to be a real lame, typical Mark, I'm a dad joke.
No, come on.
But that was really good.
That was
I
pretty
like
good,
it.
right? Thank
That
you,
was
Megan
really
Fay.
good.
Yeah. So, Julie, what are we talking about today?
I already said all that.
You did?
Greetings. So
Okay.
give me a quiz. That's what you do at this point.
Right. Okay, so are you ready? I'm going to give you three questions. I'm going to set this all up for you so that you know how it's going to go down.
Okay.
I'm going to give you three questions. Each one of these things is going to be multiple choice.
Okay.
So wait until I give you the choices before you answer.
No.
Come on.
B.
Play
Okay.
along.
All right.
All right, number one, what is the Seattle Freeze? Is it A, a yummy, non-fat, gluten-free frozen confection? B, the ice...
You paused. It's like you were waiting for me to weigh in on my perception of that. You can't
Really?
don't pause. If you give me a moment's room, I'm gonna talk.
That, you know what?
We've met.
That's super interesting. All right, very good.
Okay.
The ice skating rink that they set up at City Center in the winter in downtown Seattle, or a belief that it's especially difficult to make new
C.
friends in Seattle. C?
C.
That is correct. And according to KUOW Radio, a 2005 Seattle Times article was the oldest reference to that term found.
Oh, really? So it's not
Yeah.
like a decades old kind of cultural thing. It's more like after Sleepless in Seattle came out, people started migrating out here, and
Well,
after Nirvana.
just to be totally clear, the difference between our current date and that date is decades.
No,
You're such a
no.
chump. Yeah, it is.
But
Right?
okay, so
Isn't
you
it?
and I,
2005 plus 10
yes,
is 2015. All right.
Yes, it's more than a decade.
So yeah,
Okay, but-
basically what it means is that newcomers to the area have described Seattleites as being standoffish, cold, distant, and not trusting while in settings such as bars and parties.
So what do you think? Is it true?
Well, I'm not the best person to ask. I don't actually like humanity.
But you're an outsider coming into Seattle, so
That's
you've
true.
experienced it.
But it kind of, I guess, I mean, like in our neighborhood, my kids play with all the other kids. I talk to the other grown-ups as they walk around in their yards and stuff.
That you don't
we
live
get
in
together.
Seattle.
Oh, right, we live out in Snoqualmie. In Seattle, it never really bothers me that I don't know, because I'm not looking for more. Does that make sense? And I think that's going to be a big factor of this actual
Looking for
episode
more.
is, yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends so much on age too. If you were like a 20-something,
What the
and
hell
you're like,
are you trying to say about me?
that you're a geezer. If you were like, hey, I'm in this new big city, can't
Yeah.
wait to make my group of friends.
Yeah.
Then like what I've heard about the Seattle Freeze is people are polite, but they're not
Right.
going to like invite you home for dinner.
Right. So like if you come into Seattle like I did with a wife and a child, basically you don't have time to make new friends.
Or it just doesn't matter because it's all over for you anyway.
And if you don't like humanity anyway,
Right,
it's really
fair.
not going to matter.
Okay.
Very good. You got that one right. Julie, you ready for number 2?
Yes.
Wow. Julie, can you just take a sidebar and explain to us why that was really so funny to you?
No, let's continue.
Okay.
I'm a pro.
You're a pro. All right. Number 2, according to Instructables.com, what should you do when saying hi to strangers you pass on the street? Choose all that apply, and I'm going to list them out here.
Okay.
There's 5 options. Actually, 6
No
options.
pauses.
No pauses. Wave, glare at someone to make sure that they make eye contact. Say hi before you're in comfortable eye contact range. Get in someone's face. Turn back and profess undying love. Or all of the above. Or none of the above.
That's a lot of options.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Was just
now,
like,
if you're having trouble with all those options, you can stop the recording, rewind, and replay it.
Was one of them nod your head graciously?
No, one of them was not. It was wave, glare at someone, say hi.
Wave.
Actually, none of the above. Now, this is according to Instructables.com, and they do have
highly reputable source.
Sure, absolutely. Don't you go there for all of your hot glue needs?
Right, actually, kind of.
Yeah. Okay, so since that is all about what not to do, I thought I would teach you what you, according to Instructables.com, you should do.
Okay.
Okay, so in this next question, number 3, according to Instructables.com, which of the following should you do when saying hi to strangers you pass on the street? So these are things you should do.
Okay.
And there's 3 options. Be aware of your surroundings, make eye contact and smile, walk away and don't turn back.
Well, just,
what?
wait, like do a 180, be like, no, I don't want to approach you.
No, what they mean is, no, like imagine you're on a sidewalk and you're a person's coming towards you and you're going towards that person. After you say hi, don't swivel around and like stare at their butt while they're walking away from you.
Be like, hey, you look better going away from me than
than walking towards me.
Yeah, that's how that amazing pickup line goes.
That's right.
Everyone loves that. No, they don't. Don't do that.
Don't do
okay,
that.
the first two.
All of the above. And so the first one, be aware of your surroundings, is really...
You're supposed to do that.
Yeah, you're supposed to do all 3 of these things.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I got confused on the last one.
Right. And so be aware of your surroundings. This one is super interesting because what they're talking about here is not like be aware that people are going to jump out at you and mug you. They mean when you're walking down the street, don't stare at the sidewalk when there's people all by you. Like look around, see who's around you, and like casually kind of just glance around, try to make eye contact with people, that sort of thing. So that is it. That's the quiz, and you did reasonably well. You didn't get 100%, but you didn't earn it. But I'm going to give you 100% because Christmas.
Okay. Thank you, Christmas.
You're welcome.
Can I report on the social medium that I won, or does that not count?
You can certainly. What social medium? You mean like this right now? I just did that. I just said it.
Okay, I want to tweet about winning, but I'll put an asterisk.
No, you can certainly put a tweet about being granted 100% but not earning it. And now that Twitter has 240 characters, you should have enough space to say something like that.
To quote Marc, put a tweet.
Or is it 100? Is it 280 characters? I can't remember now. What is it up to?
I don't know, but tweeting is a verb. You don't put
tweeting
a
is a verb. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So hey,
are you ready for? You ready for some history/culture?
Yes, that sounds amazing. Thank you.
Sure. So the first thing I wanted to tell you about, and hopefully you already know about this, is where the salute came from.
Ah.
Right. So you do something with the military. What is that again, Julie?
I am a psychologist for the military, and saluting is a really big deal.
Do you actually salute people? You're not a military.
I'm a civilian. No, but there's some military greeting rituals that I do observe. For example, if the highest ranking commander in the organization comes into a room, I stand up until I'm at ease. But I theoretically, I don't have to do that, but that's a real move not to. I'll bleep that out.
Okay, good.
And but it would be offensive for me as a civilian who's not a veteran to salute anyone. But when I'm out walking, you always salute when you're outside, not you. In uniform, you salute when you're outside.
All right, that's enough.
Someone in higher. Okay.
So just cutting you off right there. Okay.
Yeah. Good.
All right. So, do you have any idea of the theory of where the salute came from?
Well, I mean, I guess it's just acknowledging that I'm in your troop.
Well, I mean, that's how it's used now. But there's one strong theory that it came from the medieval era of when men would wear suits of armor and they would have a visor over their face. So saluting is all done with your right hand, yeah?
Yeah.
And back then, and even now, I guess, usually the right hand is the hand that holds the weapon. Back then, it was the sword or whatever you were carrying around with you.
A mace. I would have held a mace.
A mace? That's
or
good.
Or a shuriken. Yeah.
Go
on.
Wait, what's a shuriken?
It's like a throwing star.
Oh, okay. That's very good. I don't think that would have worked very well against metal armor, but maybe. Anyways,
continue.
okay.
As you were.
As I was. And so they would like meet each other on the battlefield, and if they were friends, they wouldn't have their weapon in their hand. They would raise up their visors so they could see each other. And the theory is that over time, that became taking off your hat, in the presence of somebody of a superior rank, and then taking off your hat evolved into just touching the brim of your hat for expediency.
Oh, wow.
And then that evolved into tapping on your forehead with your hand. But it all relates back to using the right hand and showing that you don't have a weapon in your right hand and that you're doing something friendly. And it's actually interesting. This is not part of the theory that I read about. It's just something that I thought of since I'm looking at Pebbles right now, snoozing over there, is that it sounds a lot like dog behavior.
Like butt sniffing?
No, not like butt sniffing. Like the alpha dog, gets a certain, like you were saying at the meetings, like the alpha dog gets to make you all stand up.
Right.
Right.
And
so
the betas all lie down, and the alpha dog like puts his snout on our necks to show that he could bite us. And
it's
that we're
exactly
not
like that.
Cool.
Not that military people are dogs. Maybe you should scratch all that.
No, I think they will, but military people can understand your analogy.
Do you think? I'm not trying to be insulting military people.
No, we have great respect, and that's why we want to get it right.
Right, and that's why Pebbles is so awesome. Okay, so Julie, since you're familiar with the military and you were espousing some of the times when you should salute, do you know any examples? I've got 4 examples here of when you should not salute.
Indoors, when someone's out of uniform,
Great.
When you're inebriated, or
really? Is that one? I didn't know that one. That's cool.
Just like if it's inappropriate and you're afraid you're going to do it wrong, or in combat, and when it's inappropriate, like I guess if you're carrying a bunch of stuff, like no one's going to expect you to salute if you're carrying like live grenades.
Right. No, I read about that. And then I just recalled, I don't know the movies or the TV shows, but I remember seeing a lot of dumb slapstick media where somebody has to salute when their arms are full of stuff. And the joke is that they drop all of their important stuff to do a salute and then they're all bummed out.
Yeah, you would get a tongue lashing if that happened, I think.
Right. Yeah. So that's definitely one of the things. So if anybody's listening and you're wondering when to salute, don't salute when your hands are full of groceries.
Right.
The other thing that you didn't mention, you nailed all.
Oh, wait, I have one more.
Yeah.
In a no salute zone.
I don't know what that is.
If you're in uniform, whenever you're outside, you have to put on your cover. Do you know what a cover is?
No.
Hat.
Oh.
And salute people who are higher rank than you. But a commander can declare this is a no salute zone or a no cover zone so that people don't have to observe that ritual. Woof, woof, woof.
Just want to make it clear that is not Pebbles being so rude in the background of this podcast.
My dogs are protecting me. Thank you.
Are they? Okay. I also found a great short piece by Robert Krulewicz called A Shockingly Short History of Hello. Are you ready for your mind to be blown?
Yeah, go for it.
So when do you think hello was introduced into English
Adele.
language?
Oh.
Good one. No.
1600.
No, 1827.
What? No way.
Yeah, and even then it wasn't used as a greeting. It wasn't used to say, how's it go? It wasn't used as a greeting. It was used more to get
Thank you for explaining to us how hello is used.
Sorry. It was more used to attract people's attention, like, hello, what do you think you're doing? Or, hello, what do we have here? Or, hello.
What's all this then?
Right. Hello. What's all this then? You do it. You do better than I do.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right. Thomas, so hello didn't become really used as a greeting until the telephone was invented and arrived in the late 1800s.
Oh.
Yeah, super interesting. And what I also found, which blew my mind, is Thomas Edison espoused saying hello on his telephones when answering a call, but Alexander Graham Bell espoused, you guessed it, ahoy.
Why? It's because it's cool.
Just because that was him, and he loved it and used it his whole life, and it's not caught on anywhere because the very first phone books, one of the theories is one of the first phone books that came out in the introduction of the phone book, it explained how to use the telephone, and
Aw.
somehow Edison got his word in there, saying when you pick up the phone, say hello.
No way.
Yeah, totally. And
Wow.
but do you know there's one super important historical figure that says ahoy on the phone? Do you know who it is? You know who it
Captain
is.
Hook.
No, Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Every time he picks up the phone, he says what?
Ahoy.
He says ahoy hoy.
Oh my gosh. I haven't watched The Simpsons in years. So.
Yeah, you're a sucker.
Okay.
You got to go check it out.
I do. I mean, I don't know whether to believe you.
You don't. So what do you know about the evolution of hello to the word hi?
Nothing.
Really? Well, that's good because it didn't evolve that way. It didn't go from hello to hi. Hi was actually used as a greeting on its own and an interjection all the way back into the 1400s in Middle English.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So Kendra and I were talking about that last night, and she was wondering about that. You know, how did we start with hi? I mean, it doesn't even sound short for hello or anything.
Right.
And it's truly not. Yeah.
Oh,
So-
that's interesting.
Yeah, so that was all from Krulowicz's piece on NPR about that. So yeah, go check him out. He's awesome.
Okay, will do.
Maybe
Very
he
cool.
could be our step uncle or something.
Etymology correspondent.
No, I want him part of the family.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's it. That is culture. That's culture and history, Julie.
I don't think mom and dad are gonna have any more kids, so he's got to marry in.
Well, I was saying
that
step
wouldn't
uncle.
work anyway. Step uncle. Okay, that
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, are you ready for me to lay some science on you?
I totally am.
I warned you beforehand that I'm going to try to be brief, but I have so much to say on this topic. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to break things into two different categories.
Okay.
For greetings for people you want to see again,
Yeah.
like people who remain in your life, and
Yeah.
people you will never see again. So
That you don't
I'll-
want to see again, or that you will never see again.
that you'll never see again, or probably won't, just like
Okay.
the stranger passing you on the road.
Okay.
Versus someone at work, for
Okay.
example.
Got it.
Or someone you're meeting. Okay, and the other thing I'm going to differentiate is what are just Julie Kin theories, because I have several, and
Yeah.
what is stuff from the literature. Okay,
Great.
so I will highlight when it's just my own ideas.
Before you
Okay.
get started, I just want you to know that Google Docs does have a spell check. Just saying.
It's the word
okay, go ahead.
harassment, huh? Yeah, I was like, oh, I need to spell
Well,
check
actually, it
this.
looks
I
like
didn't
the
bother.
word maintenance, which is a hard one, to be honest, and noticeable.
Anyway.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thanks for calling me out on that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, what do you do at work? Do you ever like
What do I do at work? I have no idea.
Do you ever at work, when you're doing your very important job,
Yeah.
like deliberately walk around because that's like a good thing to do and talk to people and like say hello and greet people? Or is it just something that like you do when it comes across?
Okay,
Like-
so I think we covered that I don't like humanity. I
Yes,
do enjoy my coworkers, but I also like my own headspace. So yes, a lot I will just get up and walk around, but not get up, walk around and talk to other people. I'll just get up and walk around and like do laps of the office building or go outside for a walk.
So let's say someone makes eye contact with you while you're walking around,
Yeah.
or someone's just looking at their computer and
Right.
not looking at you, but do you just walk by them?
Yeah, if somebody's looking at their computer, I don't interrupt them. You know, we're in a cubicle farm kind of area, and the etiquette is just to assume that everyone has Les Nessman tape walls around them.
Right.
So you don't interfere with anything that they're doing. If they look up and look at you for some reason, if they're triggered, then totally say hi. But otherwise, no, I don't say hi to anybody.
Okay, so I'll come back
And
to that.
and
'cause
in
it's
the hallway,
tricky.
if I happen to make eye contact with somebody, yeah, I'll totally say hi. It's not like I'm going to ignore somebody.
Wait, what if you're in the hallway and do you try to make eye contact or do you try to like look down at your device? What do you do in a hallway?
In the hallway, I like I said above from instructables.com, being aware of your surroundings. I am aware of my surroundings. I look around. I see who's coming down the hallway. You know, I like to say hi to people in general. It's not like I'm over eager. I don't try to say hi to every single person I meet. I don't force eye contact, but if I look up and they're kind of looking at me, I'll say hi. Otherwise,
Okay.
I don't. But it's not like I go and stare at the other wall or at my shoes as I walk around.
Okay, well, So we know from the science, this is not just Julie Kin stuff, that greetings are really important. They're important for first impressions, for people you're meeting the first time, of course. We've talked about handshakes in the past and that kind of thing. But it's also important for maintaining relationships, like building rapport and keeping that rapport. And greetings are really difficult to learn. Like all the stuff you talked about earlier, like how much gaze to make, when to make eye contact, how long to hold a hand when you're shaking someone's hand, how close to stand. All that stuff is really hard to learn, but we notice if someone does it incorrectly. Just like in cultures that bow, the different degrees of bowing make so much difference. So even avatars in Second Life, if you make your avatar get too close to someone else's avatar, their avatar backs away. Like that's put into the programming. Yeah, wow. It's kind of fascinating. And this stuff is especially important for men because women kind of get a pass a little bit, probably because we're not threatening, back to the dog analogy, but we're getting more threatening. Anyway, who knows why? But, there's lots of theories why.
And in your case, your stink is all about threat.
So true. Anyway, so because it's so difficult to learn, we spend a lot of time in the literature on this because individuals with autism and some other disorders and personality types that make it very difficult to learn these things, we want to teach it to them because it is so important for those first impressions, for getting a job and building relationships and things. So the leadership books all say, all of them, 100% of the leadership books say, okay, not that many, go around and greet your coworkers and your employees by name every day. But it's really tricky. It's easy to write that in a book, right?
Yeah, totally.
But it's so hard to actually do. So I try to do this not just because the leadership books say to do it, but because it's a nice, friendly thing to do. But the leadership books don't tell you what to do when the person is like at their computer typing, or if they don't like you, do you still go say hi to them? So we had one leader in our organization who was really good about doing this once in a while, especially like in the late afternoon on like a Thursday or Friday, when generally by that time work has slowed down. So it's a good time. You're not really interrupting people so much. But then some people were like, oh, I hate how he walks around just to make sure we're still here. And it was like such a different perception than what I had. And then that made me all paranoid about, when I walk around, do they think I'm just doing this to make sure they're
just
there?
Just checking up on them. Right. That's super interesting. I used to work for Hewlett Packard, and one of the management techniques that Hewlett Packard espoused was management by wandering around or walking around. And it was essentially the good points of what you're talking about. And I'm guessing implied in that was also checking on your resources to make sure they were still around.
I guess so. But I will say, ever since, after reading tons of leadership books, I have been even interrupting people to say hi and use their names and like make sure that like I'm building a connection. But I don't just say, hello, Mark. Hello, Rob. Sometimes I guess I do, but mostly I'm trying to start conversations. I don't do it to every single person in the organization. I'll walk around as I'm walking around the office.
Wait, so are you saying like if I'm sitting there typing away on an email, you'll come up to me and go, hey, Mark, and try to start a conversation with me and interrupt my work?
No. If you're typing on the computer, I will pop my head by your cubicle and just say, hey, Mark, good morning, and then walk away.
Okay.
So I know that's already annoying, but I'm doing it deliberately, I guess. Don't tell my coworkers, anyone. But, it's so tricky. So I guess I'll do it if I'm in a good mood. But if someone,
and you just go right down you've got cubicle land there too. It's like if you have 10 coworkers, do you just go from 1 to 10? Just hi Bob, hi Jane, hi Sue, hi Mary.
Oh no, no, because that just comes across as like super artificial, right?
Right, sure.
And it is artificial, but I guess if there's 3 people and they all turn around when I come in, I'll be like, hey everyone, good morning, hey, And
so you're not,
I am using your name.
Give yourself a mandatory job of saying hi to people by first name every time. Okay.
No, but
you're
the
not
thing
that
is,
rigid.
But what I've discovered though is that when I do deliberately walk around and give that opportunity, then sometimes people will stop what they're doing and they'll say things like, "Oh, I've been meaning to talk to you about da da da," or "Hey, Julie, while you're here, da 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 da." And that was especially important when I had my own office, which I don't have anymore,
right?
Because it probably was harder to get access, or people probably felt more uncomfortable about coming in and talking to me. Whereas now I'm in cubicle land too, so it makes it a lot easier. But still, a lot of the most important conversations I have every day are from those interactions.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, okay, but I still don't know the right way to do it without being weird and interrupting people. So if anyone has suggestions. Anyway, students do better on tests after being greeted by their teachers by name when they come in. So that's kind of interesting too. Just raises confidence. So I think that could possibly extend to the workplace as well. Like if you feel cared about, you're going to feel better in general.
Sure.
Okay, what about at the doctor's office? How do you want a doctor to address you or greet you when they come in the room?
With warm hands.
Okay. Better than cold hands.
Right. I actually want them to come in and introduce themselves and say, hi, it's nice to see you. I've been in several doctors' offices where the doctor does not introduce themselves. And I'm like, hi, who are you?
Right.
And that's super
Hello,
bogus.
you're about to see me naked.
Right.
What's your name?
Right.
Yeah, so patients generally want physicians to shake their hands, although that's not universal. But what is universal is patients want the doctors to use their name. So they don't just want the doctor to introduce themselves, which is pretty standard. They also want them to address the patient by name. Have you ever been in a doctor's office when you're there? Well, maybe you just delegate all this to your better spouse. But have you ever been in the doctor's office with one of your kids and the doctor calls you daddy or dad?
Yeah, sure, of course.
So parents apparently hate that. So we need to stop doing that.
Really?
They're okay with being called dad. They hate daddy or mommy or daddy. They're okay with mom or dad, but parents generally prefer to have the use of their name instead of just being called, oh, did mommy make this appointment for you? They'd rather, Anyway, I
think it, I don't know. I disagree with that in my own personal experience. I won't say that it's wrong in general, but just in my own personal experience, I don't mind it one bit. And when our kids were really little, it made more sense for them to hear me being called dad.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Than Mark or Mr. Schechter.
Because they didn't know your name.
Yeah, like, hey, little one, did Mr. Schechter make this? Did Mark make this appointment for you? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, fair. So yeah, my pet peeve is when I'm at the doctor's office and the physician walks in and is like, "Hello, I'm Dr. Schechter, or I'm Dr. So-and-so. So, Julie, blah, 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 blah." And I want to be like, I'm a doctor too, but just not a real doctor. I'm a fake doctor. It's a PhD, but still. Anyway,
and I might be wearing a paper bathrobe right now, but you will address me as doctor.
Right, exactly. I don't press it. Yeah. Okay, so people we're never going to see again. All right, so we talked about work. Mark, what do you do if you're on the sidewalk and another man is coming towards you and you could tell he's not looking down at a device? There's probably going to be some eye contact.
Oh, I say hi.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
So you don't deliberately pull out your phones to avoid the thing?
No.
Okay, what if it's a woman?
Oh, I say hi too.
Okay.
Yeah,
have you ever...
Yeah.
Have you ever passed someone on the road and asked them to smile because they'll look prettier?
No.
I'm so glad.
No,
if we did, this relationship would be over.
Yeah.
Listeners, please don't do it.
Has anybody ever said that to you?
Oh, yeah, all the time, especially when I was younger.
Really? When you actually had something to smile about?
Right. When I lived in bigger cities and was out walking more. Oh my gosh. I mean, maybe 100 times.
Really?
Like, oh yeah, that.
And it was always some old white dude.
Yep.
Basically,
no, not just white dudes, but always older dudes.
Huh.
Not just you'll be prettier, but hey, how about a smile? Or don't you have something to smile about? I mean, but usually it's smile, you'll look prettier. In other words, you're really ugly as is. Or hey, you should smile more.
Okay, so that deserves a punch in the throat.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Okay, so. First impressions are important, but what if it's someone you're never going to see again? Have you ever heard the book Bucket Filling? I forget what it's actually called. Who fills your bucket? Or
well, yeah, I mean, our girls do in K through 6.
How full is your bucket? Yeah.
They always did like bucket filling exercises and stuff. Yeah, totally.
So so there's a kid's book based on the bucket filling thing, which is that everyone has an invisible bucket, and you can either dip from other people's bucket, which basically means being a jerk, or you can fill other people's bucket.
Right.
And by filling other people's bucket, it actually fills your own, makes you feel good.
Yeah.
So all of this, it's a really nice kids book, and my kids also talk about it at school. But it's based on a grown-ups book about leadership and management. And so I read that book. It's like a book that'll take you 40 minutes to read.
Is it the book Who Moved My Cheese?
No, but it's just like that. And, and it's mostly like,
7 Habits of Highly Effective People?
It's definitely in that category, but it's good.
Crucial conversations.
Maybe stop. Maybe what? Isn't there a penguin one too? You're gonna cite next?
Oh, I don't know.
But I would get it from the library, not buying it like I did, because again, it's a real brief read. But it's good. The idea is be nice to others, and not only does it help them, but it makes you feel good too.
Totally true. I completely agree with that whole thing. I love it when we talk about bucket filling and stuff. It was a great way for the girls and us to learn about this concept.
Yeah, I really liked it too. Here's some things about passing others on the road and some of my concerns. So this is a Julie Kin thing. One is I don't want to force others into my own need for extroversion or social interactions.
Right.
You know, it's awkward for sure at times, especially when you're dealing with people who might not know how to do greetings very well. Just because I just had some caffeine and I feel like talking to people, I don't want to like make everyone else do it. You know, it's always hard. The other thing, that's just a Julie Kin thing. Okay, safety. Like you talked about, being aware of your environment is really important. But I think greetings are important for safety for a couple of reasons. And this is totally Julie Kin stuff here. One, I think that acknowledging another's existence as they pass me, it shows them that I'm aware of my environment, that I'm not prone to attack. So like, especially if I'm talking about like walking alone at night in the dark in a city, which I do a lot and I've done definitely before. I always acknowledge people in those situations. But also, I have a theory, and I couldn't find any literature to back me up. I have a theory that acknowledging others will actually reduce street harassment because I think sometimes when I pass men on the road and I do get catcalled or street harassed, it's because they want an acknowledgement that they exist. I don't think they necessarily think I'm going to turn around and be like, oh my, yes, please, let's go on a date. But it's like a blow to the ego or a disrespect if they pass me and they're trying to acknowledge my existence and I walk by them without acknowledging theirs.
Just then not even acknowledging their basic humanity.
Exactly. Then I think the next step sometimes is, and I'm not saying this is 100% or that it's a victim's fault for being street harassed. I mean, I've had plenty of street harassment and it sucks and it shouldn't happen. But I feel like perhaps one reason is because they're like, hey you, turn around and acknowledge that I exist, you know, but of course, in not such a way.
That's a really intellectual harasser right there.
Right, exactly. So when I lived in London, I got more street harassment than I did anywhere else I've ever lived or visited. I mean, it was constant. And in part, maybe I just stood out like an American. And of course, when you're international, American women have a reputation for being easy. But I would always flip people off or give them the two-fingered salute.
Really?
Yeah, and that didn't work at all. In fact, that would just get me more yells and things. But of course, like I hated it and I was very young and I didn't know what to do. But that was like the worst. And yeah, so I think I might have told you, like I was once assaulted while walking in London. And I like punched the dude. He was walking with a group of friends, and I think perhaps him trying to approach me and say hi and me ignoring him might have, you know, been like a blow to the ego in front of his people. I don't know. Who knows? But I'm very proud of myself for giving him a punch. Although I punched him in like the sternum, so it just hurt my hand.
Oh,
anyway,
God.
But I did yell really loud, and that worked. Anyway, okay. So
and it really just sucks that you have to, as a woman, take it on yourself to wonder about treating other people as human beings and their existential life. I mean, I don't consider that at all when I walk down the street.
Right. Yeah, I mean, gender is playing into all of this stuff, of course. Yeah. So people are more likely to interact with strangers when they're alone rather than in groups. Like if a group passes an individual, they're not going to say hi, unless somebody very interesting, I guess. Men are concerned about proving they aren't gay. This is how it's referred to in the literature. Heterosexual self-presentation. So some men will be very careful not to make eye contact with other men because apparently men are been bred in our country thinking, oh, if you make eye contact, you must want sex or something. Who knows? It's stupid, but it goes back to, I mean, probably some of the same things that play into street harassment. Okay, the dog park. Do you interact differently with people at the dog park than you do elsewhere?
Yeah. Usually at the dog park, I learn the dogs' names, not the people's names.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it. But it's kind of really similar to how we would interact with people at kindergarten or preschool functions.
Yeah, right.
We always
you know all
knew
the
that,
kids.
Yeah, you know all the kids, and you're Sophia's dad. It's nice to meet you, and I don't even bother learning the name.
Right. Well, in general, if someone has an animal with them, people are more likely to greet them, which is a big duh from the science. Yeah, why'd you have to do a study on that? We all knew that.
Right.
Apparently, having a turtle made people more approachable than having a small dog.
Wait, having a turtle at the dog park?
No, just in general, like at a park.
It's an oddity. I mean, it's something that's different,
an oddity,
right? That's why pregnant women are so approachable, supposedly, is because they have this giant alien gestating inside of them, and they look weird and freaky.
Remember that time Kendra
but
was
also
pregnant?
Beautiful.
And also beautiful. Remember that time Kendra was pregnant and for Halloween she wore a shirt that said...
Yeah, we both did. Yeah, I wore a shirt that said, I was abducted by aliens and all I got was this stupid T-shirt. And she wore a shirt that said, I was abducted by aliens and all I got was this lousy fetus.
I think that was my idea, if I recall correctly.
Really? It was? It was a team effort because we also had our friends, we used our friends, the Gerbers.
It was my idea. It was a good idea. I didn't execute it, though.
No,
okay.
We operationalized it.
In Japan, people bowing increases how folks perceive their attractiveness. Huh? So if you bow, you're perceived as more attractive.
What if you bow and you show off your weird bald spots like I have?
Good point. I don't know about that.
How does that fit into the picture?
I'm not sure. And also, I think it's just applies to women. Women are more attractive when they bow, and it shows their submissiveness. But that's just one study. I'm not going to make any more comments on that one.
Okay.
Bottom line for research is that sometimes I just want to scowl and be in a bad mood.
Yeah, right?
And it's really...
Wait, you have in your notes here that you want to flip off others who tell me to smile.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. I would like to stomp them, but you know, like if someone tells me to smile, I want to just give them the middle finger. But obviously, I wouldn't do that if my kids are with me. But you know, every once in a while, I just want to not greet people. I don't want to be like the happy, nice, polite girl.
Yep.
You know, I just want to be my own human and not have to worry about it. And so that's the thing. One thing that's going to be hard for me about this challenge. A couple other things are like randos in the hallway. So like when I am at work, I will put documents on my Kindle and walk around, or on my tablet reader, and we'll walk around reading it. And I go up and back in this one hallway that doesn't have any meeting rooms on it. So it's a really long kind of hallway in the hospital. And there's a lot of other people who walk there too, doing the same kind of thing or on their phone or whatever. And so I'll pass the same people 4 or 5 times. I don't know any of their names. And I just know them by sight. How many times do I have to smile and greet them? Because usually I just do it the first time and then I ignore them afterwards.
Right.
So
I would say 0.
Oh, really? Not even? But I mean, for this challenge.
Oh, for this challenge? Oh, gosh, that's a good one. For this challenge, I think
let's talk about this challenge because we're going to greet everybody, right?
Yeah, we're going to greet everybody. I'm not going to interrupt people.
Okay.
But on the street, I'm going to try to be extra hello-y to people on the street. I'm not going to tell anybody to smile or anything dumb like that. But I am going to, instead of just looking at the trees or whatever, I'm going to try to make eye contact more. We're also going to be going to a conference during this.
Oh, right.
PodCon. And so I'm going to try to say hi to more people at a conference. I'm terrible at networking. It drains the life out of me. This is going to be a really interesting test to see how this affects my networking ability, if it does at all. But yeah, I'm going to just try to say hi to everybody. But your question, I would suggest that you have to say hi to them all the time.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I don't know. That's dumb. Saying hi to acknowledge their existence. You just have to do that once. That's the purpose of saying hi. It's not we're not, the challenge here isn't say hi to annoy everybody.
Right. Right.
That's not the challenge.
Right. In our charter, when we started this podcast, we agreed we would not do things that would hurt our careers.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Or jeopardize our safety.
Right. That's right.
All right. Well, we're going to let you listen to the Pleasure Kills for a bit, and we'll have some talks with some other podcasters and folks, and then we'll come back and tell you how it went.
That sounds great. when you pass people biking going the other direction, do you say hi to them?
It's usually not verbally acknowledging them and saying hi. It's usually a wave. But it's kind of the same as walking down a street. If there's a lot of people, like on my commute to work, I see a lot of cyclists. I'm not going to wave to every single one of them. But if I'm cycling and there's no cars around and another bike is coming at me, of course I'm going to wave, smile, say hi. It's like we're out there together. You know, it's we're in it together almost. That, yeah, we're doing the same thing. That's awesome. Like, have a good day. Enjoy your ride. Kind of wave.
It's Kyle Bondo from the Merchants of Dirt podcast. I'm what's called a trail greeter. Every time I run or ride my mountain bike or do a triathlon or adventure race, when I meet someone on the trail, I have to say hi to them because we're out there having a good time. I just want to say hello, and usually it comes off with howdy. And unfortunately, that has my friends calling me howdy doody or it's the howdy guy. But anytime I say howdy to somebody, it makes them smile. It's one of those kind of things that's like, are you having a good time? Hey, howdy. And they're like, hey, howdy to you too. And that's my ritual as a trail greeter, as like the ambassador of the outdoors. I'm the howdy guy from Virginia.
Hey guys, this is Chris. You may also know me as the Toph, the host of the Gravity Beard podcast. You know, none of my greeting rituals are really unique or non-traditional in any way. In business settings, I try to give a firm handshake and look people in the eye. In social settings, I try to give whatever combination of hug, handshake, half hug, handshake combo is appropriate at the time. But what I really want is to hear you guys talk about a hypothetical that we discussed on our show, and that is, would you rather never talk to anyone ever again, or every time you talk to anyone, you have to first give them a high five? Discuss.
Yeah, I forgot all of his warm-up exercises. What was one of them?
Humming instead of clearing your throat. And like giving yourself a face massage.
Can you do both at the same time? To save time?
Oh, yeah. It's all about time management. Okay, well, thanks to Cecil Baldwin for the excellent presentation at PodCon about how to do vocal warm-ups, and not just vocal, like face massage warm-ups. It was kind of amazing.
It's really cool. Actually, the face massage warm-up thing was really cool because I've got bad problems with the joints in my jaw.
Yes, they don't work good.
No, they don't work good at all. Thanks, Indiana. And the face massage thing really helps.
I know you're thanking Indiana for my poor use of grammar.
That's right.
But it sounded like you were saying Indiana wrecked your jaw.
Well, to be totally transparent, that is where it started. I remember in high school, my jaw locked open for like a couple days. And that was in Indiana high school.
No, that was at North Central High School.
In Indiana.
In just North Central section of Indiana, in Indianapolis.
So, okay, Julie, hi.
Welcome. Hi. Before we get started, I want to tell everyone again about the Washington Center for the Performing Arts, because there's still tickets available for Brian Reed on February 10th in the evening. He's he's the host and co-creator of S-Town and also producer on Serial and This American Life, and he's going to be doing a show based on some of the outtakes from S-Town that didn't make it into the final version.
Very good.
Amazing.
Are you going?
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. And
that's
it's
cool.
At WashingtonCenter.org. You can buy tickets.
That's great.
And let them know we sent you.
That's awesome. And before we get too much further, I just want to tell everybody that Pebbles and her cats on Instagram still has lots of followers. And if you want to follow Pebbles and all of her antics, it's Pebbles and her cats on Instagram.
Oh, thank you. That's very important.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure. She's super
How'd it go for you?
I like this a lot.
Yay, me too.
I thought it was super interesting. This is the first
one you've liked in a while.
It is the first one I've liked in a while. It was very difficult.
Really?
Yeah, it was really hard, but I liked it a lot because of all the reactions that I got. And just from talking to people about saying hi, like our interview we just heard from Megan Faye.
Yeah.
Just learning about the different ways that, everybody thinks about saying hi. It's a common, common social thing. I don't know. There's probably some sciencey name for it.
Yes.
But it was so cool to be able to talk about this concept with folks.
Yeah, people think about it.
They do. And there's all kinds of different ways. Like in Megan's interview, when she's talking about saying hi to people on bicycles. It reminded me of your question about should you be saying hi every time you see the same people when you're walking up and down that hallway. And so, I mean, she's kind of said the same thing that you are, that no, you say hi maybe once as you're passing somebody, but if you're in a big gaggle of people all going the same direction or all going the opposite direction, you don't bother saying hi to them.
Yeah. Sometimes when I'm running on post, if someone is coming by me on the sidewalk, I'll give them a high five while we run past.
Really? A high five? You'll actually make physical contact.
I do, but it's one of those things I can totally only get away with because I'm female and little. One time someone avoided my high five, and so since then I've stopped because I thought, oh, wait, I'm a creeper now. This is not good. Jeepers, it's the creeper.
Oh, my God. So what did you think of this?
I loved it too. Here's the thing. The bucket filling we talked about, that's totally real. Like, it really did actually make me feel good to say hi to people, the strangers I'm never going to see again.
It is totally real.
At PodCon, it was definitely work, but that was the whole reason I was there. I was actually there on the job to be talking about some new military health podcasts I'm working on. Yeah. And so, being very deliberate about greeting everyone was good, even though it's work to do that always, but that was okay. I remember saying to you that morning, oh, this is going to be rough, but it wasn't. It was okay.
Right. I always pictured you as really loving networking. You were always ebullient and bubbly and stuff, and I'm not. And so I always pictured that you really like to get out and say hi to strangers and meet new people and things.
Well, I can do it, and I think I'm pretty good at it, but it drains me of energy because at the end of the day, I don't want to be around people that much. I don't hate humanity like you do, but I'm definitely introverted in the idea that being around people doesn't fill my battery, it drains it. Mm-hmm. And so on both days at the end of PodCon, I just wanted to go right to sleep. It was totally exhausting, but it was still amazing and I still loved it.
Right. But, so tell me how, when you were doing the hi thing and doing the greeting thing, how did you act differently than if you wouldn't have been doing this podcast?
You mean like at PodCon or?
Yeah, at PodCon. No, at PodCon.
Oh, at PodCon,
do you think you would have acted differently? Because usually you put on
PodCon, I would have been fine. The same way. I would have been totally the same at PodCon.
You would have been totally the same.
Because my whole purpose there was to be networking.
Right.
If I was there to be just like attending it as like a convention instead of a conference where like I'm just there to see the things I want to see and I don't really need to meet anybody, then I probably would have been listening to a podcast while walking around.
Interesting.
But okay, so a couple of things that were interesting. You know how whenever we do these challenges, we start noticing everyone else who's not doing the thing?
Yes, absolutely. So, it makes us feel superior. That's why we do this.
Totally, of course. So like, for example, in the grocery store and any kind of like customer thing, I always expect the person helping me to make eye contact and greet me. Right. And when they don't, especially during this, I felt like, how dare they?
How dare you not address my existence?
Exactly. But a couple really amazing things happened. So one was there's a guy in our neighborhood who has a couple of dogs, and the dogs are they were abused or something in the past, and he's really good with these dogs. But whenever they pass another human or other dogs, they bark ferociously, just like my dogs do. But, these are really big dogs.
Maybe it's something about Olympia.
Maybe. But do you guys have that Nextdoor website where it's a community-based website?
Yeah.
Okay, so do we. And someone posted something about him like 6 months ago on it saying, who's that guy with those horrible dogs?
Oh, God.
And people weighed in to say, no, he's actually really good with those dogs and they wear muzzles and it's no big deal. But by that time, he had already closed his account. And he left the website because of that. Yeah. And so I felt terrible for him because, here's someone who lives in the neighborhood and now he feels like people in the neighborhood don't like him.
Right.
And it's probably hard because when he's walking, people can't really greet him because of the dogs. Mm-hmm. So Olaf and I have been making extra care to, when we pass him, just nod and acknowledge his existence, of course. The other day during this challenge, I was pulling out of the driveway on my way to work. It was really early in the morning. because I'm so hardcore. And he only had one dog with him, and I've never seen him with just one dog at a time. So I stopped the car and rolled down the window, and I've never actually talked to him before. But kind of because of this podcast in mind, I did, and I pulled out all those extra version reserves I've got.
Right.
And I said, "Hey, how you doing? Where's your other dog?" And he told me about the other dog was having surgery or something, or had like some dog thing going on. And we chatted for a little bit, and then I left and waved goodbye, and that was it. But I felt like, okay, I probably wouldn't have made that extra effort if I wasn't for the show. And I felt really good about it. It definitely filled my bucket, and I hope filled his a little too. And I'll make extra effort to stop and talk to him in the future.
That's really cool.
But the most amazing one was a janitor at the hospital where I work. I try very hard to acknowledge the existence of janitors and other folks working in those kinds of jobs and cleaning crews and things, because that's a kind of job where people ignore you. So this isn't something new for me. But, with this podcast in mind, I was especially, hello, how are you today? Instead of just the normal, head nod. Right. And the janitor stopped, I held a door open for him. And he said, "Thank you so much. Most people wouldn't have even noticed I was here." And I thought his choice of words was amazing, because it wasn't just thanks for noticing that I needed a door open. It was, you noticed I'm here, that I exist. So that is kind of goes back to.
That's really cool. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to try to keep this up. Although after our 2 weeks ended, there was a day I was just real grouchy, and I kind of delighted in being grouchy and ignoring everyone and just being like, I hate people. But
wait, so how did you act differently when you were grouchy?
I mean, after our experiment ended.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was kind of like, I'm so glad we're not doing that stupid podcast thing anymore, because I don't want to have to be nice to people. But I guess the thing is, you don't have to be really nice. You can acknowledge someone's existence just with a head nod and a hello. You don't have to give them the big toothy smile.
Right, exactly. Oh, that reminds me. So there are so many different ways that we say hi to each other, that people say hi to each other.
You and me, Mark and Julie?
No, I mean, oh, God.
Humans.
And some of them I just can't stand at all.
Oh, no, like what?
Well, like when you're walking down the hallway and you say hi to somebody and they give you the eyebrow raise. I'm just like, you can't even, what? I mean, we made eye contact, so you're not shut in. So, and you're not introverted too much, but you can't even muster the energy to use your vocal cords to say hi back.
Right.
There's the eyebrow raise. There's the head nod. There's the eyebrow raise with the head nod. And those kinds of things are just lame, in my opinion.
Unless you're on the phone.
Unless you're on the phone, or if it's I don't know, a mortuary.
Right.
Right? If there's a funeral going on, then I think those things are appropriate. But in a work setting where it's right to say hello and to use your vocal cords, use them, people. People like to hear your voice and to be acknowledged. At least this person does.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm sorry for ignoring you for a second. My mother-in-law sent me a funny email. Anyway.
You're multitasking while we're doing this? You
no,
suck.
because multitasking doesn't exist.
No, that's right.
Told me.
That's
okay,
true.
Yeah. No, I agree. I didn't like being pregnant and having people touch my tummy or things back in the day. But you know what's even worse than that?
What?
When you're not pregnant and people ask if you are.
Oh God. Well, we're diverging a little bit.
Oh, okay.
We're going off track a little bit. So yeah. Okay, so at PodCon.
Anything else you want to say?
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So a few things at PodCon. I like I said, I don't like to network, but at PodCon, when I would sit down in the concurrent sessions to listen to the speakers, whatever, I got it up into myself to say hi to the people sitting next to me. And I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, right?
No,
when I say that, but it's to me, it's hard to do. And it was fine. Some people were, I mean, everybody was super nice and friendly to talk with. Some people I was able to actually exchange cards with and talk about our different podcasts. Other people, I was just finding out what they were interested in, that sort of thing. But it led to some small conversations, and it was really nice. And it helped pass the time, and it filled my bucket, and hopefully it filled their bucket a little bit too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you noticed this, but one of my coworkers who was there said it was just a different audience than any conference he'd ever been to before, because people weren't like overtly trying to constantly network with everyone. And I think it's because of the topic. I mean, and it wasn't a conference, it was a convention. It was people who were there to see the podcast they wanted to see. Some people, especially podcast producers, wanted to network, but others were just like, no, I'm a listener. Can you leave? I'm sure they, in their minds, they were like,
right.
I'm just here to
I just want to see the people that I'm
McElroys.
interested in, right? Yeah, sure.
Right. But everyone was still up for conversation, and so my conversation started with people around me was, hey, do you have a podcast? And if they did, then of course people want to talk about their podcast. And if they don't, I said, oh, so what are you most excited about? And then eventually I was able to manipulate the conversation to turn it back to me and my work and hand out stuff.
You are a master manipulator.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So at work, I would try to get eye contact with pretty much everybody walking down the hallway. So it was a little weird because I would be doing the thing that I said don't do in the first half of this episode, which is stare at people and glare until we make eye contact. So I was actually doing that.
Oh no!
But I felt like I had to get people just to make eye contact. A lot of people I notice will literally walk down the hallway staring at the wall opposite me or just at their shoes or whatever as they're walking down the hallway. And it could be because I work with a bunch of introverts in Seattle. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
I mean, that totally could be part of it.
Or it could be me. They just don't want to talk to me. So I should just really try to own that. How can you tell?
Own the fact that people...
How can you tell? I could blame it on the culture that I live in.
No,
or I could just blame it on me being a repulsive person that they don't want to say hello to.
Oh, no, I think it goes back to your people aren't always in the mood to socialize.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you're doing a stupid podcast with your sister doesn't mean that they have to stop and talk.
Right. And so that was one of the things
energy.
It does. And that was one of the things I thought of after this is, we wanted to do this to bring the humanity back into sort of daily existence.
Right.
But doesn't it actually take away humanity to force people to be human? Or to force people into social interaction when they don't want to?
Well, and that's the thing is that it's about courtesy, not force.
Right, exactly.
You allow for that interaction if it's gonna happen, if the person seems consensual to the greeting. But if they don't, you let it go. You don't catcall them and say, "Hey, I passed you in the hallway. Aren't you going to acknowledge my humanity?" Oh, and I'll see you at that meeting.
Right.
So it's tricky. I'd be interested in hearing from our listeners, especially on our Facebook discussion group.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping this one stirs up some interesting comments. So let us know what y'all think.
Yeah.
And should we all wear like red hats for when we're like leave me alone and green hats for I'm good to talk?
No, what you should get are those. They now make these like LED pins that you can pin on that you can load up with different messages.
I like it. Okay, let's do that. Any last words on this?
No, I think this was pretty great. So I'm going to try to continue to say hi to people outside of my usual comfort zone, but I'm not going to go crazy like I was over the last few weeks.
I'm definitely going to keep greeting, especially like the gate guards who have to let us in the freezing cold. And they're usually like private first class. So they're like the most junior folks who have to stand out there and do it. And I'm sure most people just hand them their card and then go in. Whereas I made eye contact and said hello and thank you to every single one. I'll keep doing that. But,
very good.
Because I'm nice.
That's good. And I'd highly recommend trying this out.
Yeah, try it out, folks.
Yeah, try it out.
Okay, try it.
So Julie, good one.
Thank you to you, Marc, for doing this silly podcast. Marc, did you know you could go to wagonpod.com to listen to other episodes if you haven't subscribed yet?
Yeah, and you can view our show notes there, too.
That's true. You can connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. We're at WagonPod. And also, if you could subscribe and leave us reviews on iTunes or wherever you get podcasts, that would be awesome.
Very good. And, on our website, Julie, on wagonpod.com, we also have a phone number that you can call and leave us messages.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And we'll use those and let us know if we can use your voicemail as part of a show.
Yeah, totally. So like that thing you said earlier about let's hear from our listeners on Facebook.
Yes, that could actually literally happen.
It could be a literal thing, right?
Awesome.
Tell us.
We'll make a bonus app.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you know, Julie, we also get iTunes reviews. We love iTunes reviews. Yeah. So let me tell you one that came in recently.
Yeah, do that.
Let me do that thing. Let me do it. So this is from Chemically Writ. Julie and Marc genuinely enjoy their projects and each other's company. Yeah, we do, Julie. That's true.
It's true.
They're funny, clever, and so much fun. I can't wait to hear more.
Aw, but what did Chemically Rich say about you?
That's funny, and they only gave us 4 out of 5 stars.
That's okay. That's okay.
That's okay. It's all right.
You
Take a
know
deep
what?
breath,
It's
Mark.
our first not 5-star review, but that's okay. It just shows that like it's legit.
Totally
We are a
legit.
real podcast.
We are.
Okay.
We love the iTunes reviews. Please keep giving us
Yeah.
more iTunes reviews. Love them.
Yeah, and Chemically Rich, we're totally thrilled with a 4-star review.
No,
More.
I don't know. You could have bumped that up a little bit.
Okay, email us your suggestions at wagonpodcast@gmail.com and check out the Pleasure Kills. Thank you to them for the use of the song Modern Problems.
Thank you, Pleasure Kills.
Thanks to our spouses and our children for putting up with us and our weird experiments.
Yes,
Oh,
and
wait, what are we doing for our next one?
Well, wait, we didn't thank any of our friends. Thanks to all of our friends who put up with us doing these crazy experiments at work and around the place.
On them. Yeah.
What's that?
And on them. 'Cause
And
we're doing
on
experiments
them, right.
Yeah.
We don't
Oh,
even
and
take them
thanks-
through human subjects boards or anything.
Right, nope. Oh, thanks for our interviews, too.
Yep,
Really appreciate
totally.
y'all.
Yep.
Okay,
So
what's
for
next
next one, so what's your idea for next time?
Okay, I wanted to do something focusing on deep breathing or meditation and relaxation.
So like giving up breathing? I don't think that'll work.
Like focusing on deep breathing.
Focusing on deep breathing. So like giving up shallow breathing?
Yes, but again, as I've said in like the last 5 episodes, we don't need to term it giving up blah, 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 just because we did that initially. The episode could just be like episode 40, breathing.
Jeez. Well, I don't know, fans. Should we keep up with the whole giving up concept, or should we just be about human experiential concepts? Because that's what
Human
Julie's...
experiential concepts, because it gives you more opportunities to do stuff.
Oh, that's really interesting. Thank you, thank you, anonymous listener.
Yes.
I was thinking about giving up using nail clippers.
Oh my gosh.
You know, because like we take them for granted. You know, the kind that you squeeze together that are not like scissors.
Yeah.
Like, what did they used to do before nail clippers were invented? That's what I think we should give up.
Knives and teeth.
Exactly. Can you imagine what that would be like? It'd be awful.
Yeah.
It'd be gross. So
That's what you want to focus a whole... Do you think there's meat there for a whole episode?
history and culture, absolutely. Psychology around people getting their nails done and how much effort and money is put into it.
That's
Absolutely.
true.
It's a huge industry.
What about your toenails? You going to bite them off?
No, but I'll certainly talk about my kids who do that.
All right. It's a deal.
Okay, cool.
And then after that, let's do something on meditation or mindfulness or deep breathing.
All right.
Because I want to use it as a chance to promote one of my new podcasts for work.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Okay.
Because it will exist by then. Okay.
All right, Julie. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, Mark.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! A proper gentleman pays the bill. A proper gentleman pays the bill.
A boogly oogly 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 oogly.